So they were such hakimeh, they were so wise that Nebuchadnezzar, who was a Rasha, but one of the things that's true about Rishaim is because they're so arrogant, they always want to hang around people that are also intelligent. So Nebuchadnezzar was intelligent. He says, I'm going to hang around with simple people. I'm going to take the good people. So he took the most amazing people in Am Yisrael. Who was this? Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, who at the time were 15 years old. They were very, very young, but they were intelligent, very smart. I'll tell you a few stories about Hakimeh de Yerushalayim. The Gemara says amazing things about these people. One example is there was once a father. The father was from Yerushalayim, and he left Eretz Yisrael to go on a business trip. He realized halfway through the business trip that he was not feeling well, and something was wrong. He stopped by one of his very close friends' houses, a person he really trusted, and he realized he was getting even more sick, and his time was coming to end. He feared that because he went on the business trip, what was usually the custom is you would take a lot of your possessions, a lot of your money to go, to buy, to sell. So most of his finances were with him on the way. He was concerned. He had a son in Yerushalayim, and he wanted the wealth to reach his son. So he turned to his best friend. He said, I trust you to get this to my son. I'm not going to make it. I'm not making it back to Yerushalayim. I need you to make sure that my son gets this treasure. Now, in those times, you didn't have an ID, which means you couldn't just go ahead and show a picture and say, okay, this is my son. When you see him, you'll know. So he told his friend that, how will you know that my son is who he is? I already prepared my son. I told him that in order for him to receive the wealth, if something like this were to ever happen, he would have to show 3 signs of his wisdom. And the person that shows you 3 signs of his wisdom, that's who you give the gold and the silver to. That's who you're going to give the money to. He held on to the money. The news came to the son that his father passed away. So he traveled to the city. They told him that Pironi, his best friend, that's where the money is. So he traveled to the city and he asked them, how do I get to Reuven's house? And nobody in the city told him. They had a minhag in the city. They would not give out addresses of anybody that belonged in the city. Why? Very simple. Because you don't know. Sometimes people are robbers. They want somebody's address. Why? To either kill him or to steal his money. So if there was a stranger and he would ask for somebody's address, they would never give it to him. So he asked one person, he asked another person. Nobody's giving him the address. How am I going to get to the whole city? So he said an idea. He saw a person on the street walking with wood on his back. So he stopped him. He said, excuse me, this wood, is it for sale? He says, yes. Can I buy it? He says, sure. How much is it? He pays him, whatever he said, $15. Pays him $15. He says, could you please take it to Reuven's house? He says, no problem. I'll deliver. Free delivery. He takes the wood to Reuven's house, and who's following behind? This guy from Yerushalayim, the son. He's following his lead. He knocks on Reuven's door. He says, excuse me, this wood is yours. He says, I didn't buy any wood. He says, right, he bought it for you. He says, hello, my name is Peloni's son. I hear you're Reuven. He realized, it's a sign of his cleverness. I see that he's smart. He was able to get to my house without anybody giving him an address. He says, but nevertheless, that's only one proof. That doesn't mean necessarily. Brought him over to the house. This is they were eating lunch. And what there was 5 birds. They were eating these birds. They had 5 birds. And he told the son, Bechavod, why don't you split it amongst us? Now there was a family. It was the husband, the wife. He had 2 sons and he had 2 daughters. So between all of them, he has to split 5 birds. Maybe he'll say 2 for this child, 1 for the 2 children, 1 for the 2 girls, 1 for him, 1 for the wife. How's he going to split it? So they look at him and he says, no, bechavod, I don't want, I'm a guest. You're the Baal Habayit. He says, no, I insist. You be the one to do it. He says, okay, if you insist, I'll do it. He takes one bird, one of them, he gives it both to the husband and the wife. He takes another bird, he gives it to the two sons. The third one, he gives to the two daughters, and two he takes for himself. So they look at him. Now everybody's thinking the same thing. He's taking everything, all the good stuff for himself, and he's leaving us half. He took two, and each one of us get half. But nobody said anything. Nobody said, everybody ate their food quietly, without complaining. Tov, dinner comes along, and this time there's a big chicken. Ever seen a full chicken? Nice chicken. And the Baal Habayit turns to him and says, Bechavod, why don't you divide the chicken? He says, no, Kavod the Baal Habayit, the owner of the house should be the one. I'm just a guest here. He says, no, I insist, you do it. He says, okay. He takes the head, cuts off the head of the chicken, and he gives it to the owner, to the Baal Habayit. He takes the intestines and the stomach, gives it to the wife. 2 wings he gives to the daughters, meaning the arms. Yeah. And the 2 thighs of the chicken he gives to the 2 sons. For himself, the whole middle. The whole middle inside he takes for himself. So now, that's it. Now they're sitting there and they see him with the whole big chicken and everything else is taken. They said, excuse me, this is already the second time. How do you go ahead and you do something like this? So he says, look, I didn't ask to split it. You asked me to split it. I said, no, you insisted. Nevertheless, I'll explain my actions. The first time, there were 5, and we were 7 people. I said, what's the correct way to split this? You and your wife are 2. So with another 1 together, that's 3. Then you have your 2 sons, that's also 2. 1 chicken, that makes it 3. The 2 daughters are 2. I gave them 1 to make them 3. I'm 1, so I need 2. So I gave myself 2. That's the first thing. Then when it came to the splitting of the whole chicken, the big one, he said, you are Baal Habayit, and you should be Zochet to be Baal Habayit for many, many years. I gave you the head, because you're the head of the house. Your wife, she had 2 sons, she had 2 daughters, she's the mother of the house. I gave her the stomach where the children come from. That's why she got the stomach. The 2 wings I gave to the daughters because one day they'll get married and they'll fly away. They'll be to their husbands. Now they're their husbands' concern, and they're no longer able to be around the house as much. And then for the 2 sons, because even after they get married, they're still the foundation of their parents. They're what support their parents, and they're what help their parents. They're the foundation. And they said, okay, no, but what about for yourself? Why'd you take the whole middle? For myself, I came here to get the gold and the silver and the money, and then to get on a boat and leave. This chicken resembles a boat. I want my money, and I want to get out and leave. They all started laughing, and he realized the Chachmei Yerushalayim, how brilliant they were, how wise they were. And he said, if that's the case, this is definitely the son. And he gave him the fortune that he was supposed to give him. That's Hakimei de Yerushalayim. Just to have an idea. What about Nebuchadnezzar? Nebuchadnezzar, he took Am Yisrael into, like I said, Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah. This first galut was through Nebuchadnezzar, was a gentle galut. He only took the most wisest of people to go together with him to Bavel. Now that in itself requires understanding. I'll just finish off with this point. With Bavel, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu make the exile happen in Bavel? Out of all places. So look at the immense, we always have to focus on the kindness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even when he punishes Am Yisrael. What's special about Bavel? So listen, first of all, who came from Bavel? Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu came from Bavel. If there's anywhere in the world the Jews have to go, at least let it be their former homeland, where it's Bavel. So they'll feel somewhere comfortable. We came from this place, and we're not strangers to this place. So therefore, Bavel. But that's not it. What language did the Bavlim speak? Did they speak Persian? Did they speak Greek? What they spoke? What did they speak? Hebrew. Aramit. Aramit is extremely similar to Lashon HaKodesh. The integration process of going from Hebrew Lashon HaKodesh to Aramit is very simple. There's only a few differences, but it's pretty much the same language, the same accent. It was easy to integrate. And not only that, even when they learned Aramit, it's easy for them to learn Torah as well. Because the languages are so similar, when they end up learning Aramit, they won't forget Lashon HaKodesh. So the Torah will still be able to be preserved within them. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu calculated that as well. Additionally, who's ever been to, no, I don't think anybody's ever been to Iraq. Maybe Yossi. Yossi, when you look out in the scenery of Iraq, what stands out? Forget buildings and man-made. Okay, river. What else? Palm trees. There you have it. In Bavel, they have palm trees. Everywhere there's palm trees. And palm trees have what on them? Dates. So even if you don't have money, even if you don't have a job, there's dates everywhere. And dates, one of the great properties is they nourish a person. A person can have a date and live off of it. So you don't have to be concerned for Panasah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it easy for them. And the ability to learn Torah. They were able to learn Torah. Why? Because of this, because of these calculations. So look how much chesed HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even when sending them into exile. Oh, this is the place that you're going to go. And by and large, except for the beginning few years, Am Yisrael had it very good in Bavel. And we'll see what took place and what happened in Bavel and what of the events that transpired, we'll see very soon. But just to finish off, the second and third exile, we have exile, Galut number 2, is called Galut Yehoiachin. Yehoiachin was the son of Yehoiakim. He was appointed in his stead. And Yehoiachin, he went ahead and he ruled for a very short period of time. It was about 11 years, his rulership. And Yehoiachin also, Nebuchadnezzar came along and he took the people to exile. And at this point, Mordechai was taken, Yehezkel was taken. A lot of the great sages, Torah scholars, were taken early. This was called Galut Yehoiachin. And even this was a chesed. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu was preparing Bavel. The majority of the Jews were still in Yerushalayim. They were there until the destruction of Beit HaMikdash. And then almost all the Jews were exiled to Bavel. And this, which happened 7 years before the destruction of Beit HaMikdash, what do you think it did? All the Talmidei Chachamim that got there 7 years earlier prepared yeshivot, prepared batei knesiot, prepared batei midrashot to teach Am Yisrael when they'll be in the Galut. So when Am Yisrael came with the Galut of Nebuchadnezzar and what was called Galut Tzidkiyahu, everything was already set up for them. They had the whole integration process in place. All the Talmidei Chachamim were locked and loaded, ready to teach Torah to the masses. So Am Yisrael simply integrated.